Hello fellow audio nerds, I'm Steph and this is Major Hi-Fi. This week I got a chance to spend some quality time with the newest from Audeze, the Audeze LCD-GX. This headphone is marketed specifically toward gamers and audiophile gamers. Now the Audeze Mobius was the first Audeze headphone that was pointed directly toward gamers. This one is sort of audiophiles and gamers. It has a microphone but also has really top quality sound. So what can you expect from this headphone, and will it improve your gaming performance? Let's take a closer look with this Audeze LCD-GX review. Oh, hey, Steph here. Before getting started into the review, I just want to say a quick thing. If you like this review and you find it really helpful, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe to the channel. We definitely want to try and grow a little bit, so definitely want to hear your feedback as well. So let us know what you think in the comments down below. Alright, thanks. I'll see you in the review. Now, the LCD-GX is such a cool looking headphone, and I was really trying super hard not to use the word cool, but I just couldn't think of any other words to describe it. The housing is a matte black magnesium housing, and underneath it is this red metal grille, and that look is just mature and classy, yet still kind of maintains a little bit of that flashiness that gives it kind of personality and flavor that a lot of gaming headphones have. When you pick the headphones up, there's a little bit of weight to them, and they feel just super well made. However, they definitely felt lighter than others in the LCD series by Audeze, which made me super happy because it just seems like they're really refining each new headphone that comes out to sort of listen to what the people want and kind of refining it to make it better. I was extremely impressed by the comfort and the fit of the LCD-GX. The lighter weight of the ear cups combined with this new headband they have really made it super comfortable. One of the main differences is sort of the angle that the extenders sort of like sit and then connect to the yokes on the ear cups, make that headband really span widely across the top of the head, and it just more evenly distributes the weight then. As for the drivers of the LCD-GX, they are planar magnetic drivers just like all of Audeze's headphones. They feature the Fluxor N50 Dymium magnet arrays to sort of help make the headphones more efficient. And they also have the Uniforce ultra-thin diaphragms. Now, Audeze does recommend using these with the DAC amp, and for me personally, I really enjoyed it, specifically with the IFI Black label. As for cables with the LCD-GX, the headphones come with two different cables. One is sort of that Litz kind of style where it has the individually insulated conductors that then braid together and terminate to a 6.35 millimeter connector. The other one, though, comes with a microphone built in. That microphone is a unidirectional. It's on a gooseneck, so you can sort of move it into position. And it also terminates to a 3.5 millimeter connector. However, it also has a mic mute switch on the cable as well. The microphone does come with a windscreen that you can put on the end to sort of avoid kind of plosives with your P's and your B's and all that kind of stuff. It had really great articulation, a lot of high-mid presence, but also a feeling of fullness. Check 1 2 1 2. The low frequencies of the LCD-GX have a lot of clarity and space, but kind of have a lightweight feeling. There's a little bit of a boost around 60 Hertz, which adds a nice feeling of punch to kick drums. Additionally, there is this sort of clarity in the subregion, which gives kick drums, subsynths, low basses, this really kind of nice feeling of like subtle reach down there. There is a boost around what sounded to me like 150 Hertz that is a lot greater than the boost at 60, so the lows feel a little bit lighter in the mix than this other area. For example, when I was listening to the song Lazarus by David Bowie, the bass guitar had a lot of kind of detail in its notes. I could hear the bass guitar moving around, and there was a lot of nice kind of thuddiness to the kick drum, especially the kick drum beater. The two of them together kind of had this feeling of commonality, this kind of friendship in their sound, where they really worked well together, but they didn't feel like they were weighed downward. They kind of felt like they were merging in this middle area. The kick drum did have a little bit of extra punch than the bass guitar, and also sort of had that subtle feeling of reach. The mid-range of the GX had a feeling of fullness, yet also maintained articulation. There was a little bit of a cut around what sounded like 1K, which really kind of helped to separate instruments and sounds that had more high-mid information from those that were more strictly in the middle part of the mid-range. What was happening in the high-mids was really pretty interesting, actually. I noticed a cut between what sounded like 3 and 4K, which kind of softened things, gave it this kind of easy, kind of smoother sound in the high mids. However, this was sandwiched with some boosts around like 2K and 5K, which brought some of that presence back. For example, when I was listening to the song No Dad by Taylor Hollingsworth, the electric guitar felt really nice and full, but the distorted, crunchy part of that guitar also had really nice kind of texture and detail. Additionally, Taylor's voice was really interesting because it definitely seemed to have some character to it, but it really sort of emphasized his mouth and his chest as opposed to his throat. As for the high frequencies of the LCD-GX, they were articulate and textural with this really pretty kind of nuanced sense of lift. I noticed a boost around what sounded like 6K, and this kind of brought nice presence and clarity to the attacks of drums and cymbals, and also to the consonants of voices, so they really kind of seemed to pronounce words. I noticed a boost around what sounded like 8 kilohertz, which made percussion, drums, cymbals have really nice feeling of texture. Now, I did hear a little bit of a cut around what sounded like 10 kilohertz, which made the audibility of air a little bit lighter in the mix level-wise. However, there was sort of then this extension happening above that really then created that feeling of lift. For example, when I was listening to the song Mercy Now by Mary Gauthier, what I noticed was that her voice sounded nice and present, had a lot of clarity, and kind of that presence that it brought really sort of seemed to highlight the compression that the mixer or the recordist, I guess, was using on her voice, and it kind of gave it this warm feeling, which was pretty interesting. It was a little bit less airy than usual. It still had a feeling of lift, but just the audible air that I could hear was a little bit quieter in the mix than usual. The acoustic guitar had a really nice attack, and so did the drums. It really gave it this kind of lively sound. As for the soundstage of the LCD-GX, it definitely seemed to have a little bit more like subtlety than some of the other Audeze headphones to my ear. It definitely did have nuance and this sort of like light feeling of extension in all 3 dimensions, but it was less dramatic than the others in the LCD series. That sort of subtle feeling of extension in the highs, combined with that subtle feeling of extension in the lows, did really great things for that sense of height. Then as for the depth, this was the most dramatic part of the soundstage to my ears. Presence really kind of brought things forward, and then those would contrast really nicely, really strongly from instruments that were sort of darker, sitting back further in space. There was sort of this really strong sense of phantom center, which kind of acted like this gravitational pull, and it took really kind of dramatic flares to really like draw out from that and kind of create this emotional impact. For example, when I was listening to the song Quizás, Quizás, Quizás by Pink Martini, the percussion had this really kind of sweet feeling of extension in the highs, which contrasted very strongly then from the bass down below it. The feeling of depth was definitely there. The vocal had a really nice feeling of intimacy, and that contrasted strongly from like the violins, strings, and guitars back in space. Bass really seemed to hold everything in the center there. So the strings, the horns, the guitars kind of felt like they were being squeezed a little bit more toward the center. However, that percussion that I mentioned was sort of able to be a little bit more expressive out in the sides and kind of make that sense of width really kind of draw your interest in. Overall, the Audeze LCD-GX has a really nice feeling of presence, a thick mid-range, and this really pretty kind of subtle and nuanced feeling in the high frequencies. As for its performance in gaming, I could really imagine these helping your performance a lot, because that presence will sort of make bullets, footsteps, and everything like that have a lot of texture and have kind of the ability to pinpoint where those are happening in space in a way that I think will help game performance a lot. But then there's also that sort of thuddiness that isn't gonna like shake the room down when there's an explosion or something like that, but it will kind of bring more articulation to low frequency, rich sounds like explosions, so you can pinpoint them a little bit easier in space. And that all combined with the fact that it's got a really good sounding microphone and is comfortable on the head, I think it's definitely going to be a great option for those of you looking for a great gaming headphone. Thank you so much for watching. For a closer look at my experience with the Audeze LCD-GX, you can check out the link to my article down in the description box down below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and for more videos like this, be sure to subscribe. Alright everybody, I will see you next time. Bye!